All right, guys, what's going on? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. So, for a second here, I would like you to imagine a world to where you can play God of War on Xbox, or to where you can play Gears of War on PlayStation. And a concept like this is absolutely amazing. I think it would benefit every single gamer out there, whether you're a casual, whether you're a hardcore gamer, or whether you're a specific type of gamer. I think this is something that could benefit everyone and make everyone happy. And I do believe now that we are officially one step closer to making something like this happen, right? Because they say the first step to solving a problem is to talk about, right? To admit that there is one, right? So recently, Phil Spencer had an interview with Bloomberg, and he basically said, and I'm paraphrasing over here, that he expects to see less and less exclusives when it comes to, consoles. I mean, especially with, like, I don't know, he can only speak for Microsoft, I guess, but as time goes on, expect to see less and less exclusives. And he also said something that really made me smile and nod my head as a gamer. And he said that basically it sucks when you can't play with your friend because we bought a different piece of plastic, right? So let's say, your friend has a Sony PlayStation, you've got an Xbox, you can't play together. I mean, you can in some games, but again, those games are very limited. I mean, imagine if you can do that with every single game, or let's just say a much higher percentage of games, regardless of what platform, right? So let's say there's a new co-op game or like let's just say this, like let's just say Xbox. Like imagine on PlayStation's platform, you got a friend that's got a Sony PlayStation and you've got your Xbox or whatnot. Imagine if both of you guys could play Halo, or let's just say all your friends are on PlayStation, but you guys have always wanted to try Halo. Imagine you guys being able to have access to do that. Just to give an example, right? Or a Gears of War or whatever. So with Phil Spencer basically saying those things from that interview really gives me hope for the future. Now, obviously, something like this is something that is going to take time, but I like to think that the wheels have finally turned because of what was said, right? It's the beginning. And on top of that, if you think about it, the wheels have already been turned. It's just been put more center stage now, especially after that interview, because when you look at what Game Pass has done since 2017, Game Pass has been very successful. It's like they got between 25 and 30 million subscribers on it or something like that. Some people are saying it's even more, but I don't know. As far as we know, it's I think between 25 and 30 million subscribers. And obviously people have been praising it because of what you get for the price that you pay and all that kind of stuff. And then an X amount of years later, this year, Sony came out with their version of Game Pass. It's got 3 different tiers or whatnot, or maybe 2 different tiers. So things like that are great for the industry, right? Sony's hand was kind of forced in order to make something like this happen, because let's admit it here, Sony makes great games. Now, I've mentioned time and time again on this channel that I am not a Microsoft or a Sony or a Nintendo fanboy. I'm a gaming fanboy. So if there's something that's coming out for a console that I don't happen to have, or let's say if it was PC exclusive and I didn't have a PC, which I'm actually a very proud PC owner now. Even if I didn't have it, I would still be excited about it. And there's a multitude of reasons why. Even if I don't get to play it right away, I might be able to play it in the future. I didn't get a PlayStation 4 right away. I had the Xbox, and then later on I got a PlayStation 4. Do I regret my purchase? Hell no. I've had great experiences throughout the years with Sony and with Microsoft, and of course Nintendo, and even with Sega. I am actually very proud to say, as a gamer of 31 years or so now, I am proud to say that I believe I have owned every single Sega console growing up. Let's see, I had the Sega Genesis, I had the Sega CD, I had the 32X, I had the Game Gear, which was the handheld. I had the Sega Saturn. I had the Sega Dreamcast. And I think those are all the consoles they made. So, and even if I missed one, I mean, it's just one. I mean, I've enjoyed console gaming growing up. I had a PS1, I had a PS2, I had a PS3, PS4. All those. I still have my PS4, as a matter of fact. The Xbox, I've had all the Xboxes. So, and as I said, I'm a proud PC player. So, I am very much a gaming fanboy. And I had a Nintendo GameCube. I had a regular Nintendo. I had a Super Nintendo. I had a GameCube. And unfortunately, I missed out on the N64 because I had to choose between that and PlayStation. And I went with PlayStation due to peer pressure, although I wanted an N64. But at the same time, I don't regret it one bit, because I was introduced to different era of different kinds of games that I otherwise wouldn't have experienced. And I had a lot of fun and a new experience in that aspect. So when you look at my gaming history, for instance, this allows this experience to be replicated. And as we know, in today's age and with today's gamers, things are tough, things are tight, and inflation is a real thing. It's something that's a pain in the ass for most people. A lot of people are really tight at this point right now, to say the least. So the thing is, for Game Pass, obviously, this is something that's great for everybody. It's affordable, and at the same time, if let's say you've played everything and there's nothing more to play, you can always unsubscribe and then resubscribe when something new or a plethora of new games is added in, like especially with the acquisition of the Activision Blizzard thing that's going on. Some people are saying that it's going to be finalized at the end of this year. Some other people are saying that it's going to be in June or July, like originally predicted. But either way, it's something that's coming. I think it's going to be great, not just for those people that have Game Pass and that are on the Microsoft side of things, but for gaming in general. And I'll tell you why. Because it could be used not only as leverage, but as an example, right? Like I mentioned earlier, if it wasn't for Game Pass, I don't think Sony would have done what they did with their tier Game Pass type of subscription or whatnot, right? So things like this, right, is something that forces other companies to get better, right? This is why competition is a good thing, and why ideas are a good thing, and why interviews like this with CEO of Microsoft Gaming, Phil Spencer, and Bloomberg is a good thing. Because first of all, when you start talking about things like this, it's great. It gives people hope for the future. It's the first step of many in order to make something like this happen. And even if it doesn't happen in the way that we, the gamers, dream of it happening, right? In terms of being able to have access to like every single game, regardless of platform, for a small fee or whatnot, without all the bullshit that comes in between, and you can easily have access to your friends list on regardless of platform and stuff like that. It is a good concept, and I think it is something that is going to be looked into even more now, with in due time. And again, when this deal goes through with Activision Blizzard, it's like, okay, obviously Game Pass is going to be greatly enhanced. There's going to be a lot of great games that are going to be coming in. And at the same time, at least in the beginning, Microsoft could use that as leverage, like for instance with Call of Duty, as leverage in order to force Sony's hands in order to do things. And after an X amount of years, when Sony sees that Microsoft is becoming successful, not just from a financial standpoint, but from a popularity standpoint, because of that, something like that, which is again what Game Pass did, it's going to force everybody else to get better. Now, Nintendo is obviously Nintendo. They're just doing things at the beat of their own drum. I really don't think they give a damn. But who knows? I mean, every company out there likes money, and they all want to be successful, right? I mean, it's why some of us drive ourselves crazy working crazy hours in a job that we absolutely despise, right? It's why some of us also went through years and years of college in order to get a job that pays decently, right? So, and that's a whole other subject. I saw some things on Twitter regarding college, and Difo definitely made a few good points there. That's for sure. But with that being said, this is an exciting time, because potentially in the future, great things could happen. And I would just absolutely love to see, to be in a world to where if somebody on PlayStation wants to play a game that was exclusively on Xbox, like a Gears of War or a Halo or another game, that they have access to do so, right? And they don't have to spend so much more money to get another console just for that one game, or maybe a few games here and there, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, most people have to choose which side they have to go on, right? Not everybody is able to afford every single console. Not everybody that does content creation. As a matter of fact, the majority of content creators out there are small, so they're not making anything out of the content that they make, but they want to play everything and stuff like that. So they have to choose. Or sometimes what they do is they grit their teeth and they make the purchase anyway. But again, putting food in your mouth is actually more important than gaming, and paying your bills is more important than gaming. And for those of you guys that have children and all that kind of stuff, all that stuff is more important than gaming. And when you put that into the mix, along with inflation, which is very, very real and really tough for most people, to have something like, just to go back to Game Pass here, or even the new Sony thing that they've created, Spartacus or whatever it's called, or Project Spartacus is what it was called, is a good thing, because it gives people access. So imagine having even more access to more games regardless of whatever console that you own, right? Because like it was said, and paraphrasing, I'm not sure if I mentioned this already, but I'm going to say it again. I didn't script this commentary. So, just because you have a different piece of plastic, it really sucks that you can't play with friends, right? So it's like, okay, now it is something that you can check off the list. It's like, okay, regardless of whatever we're playing on, we can play together. And we're talking, I know that Call of Duty right now is doing that, but again, this doesn't have to be limited to just Call of Duty. You can go way beyond that. There's a lot of co-op games and stuff like that. So having less limitations as a gamer is a good thing. And it's something that appeals to everybody, whether you're casual or whether you are a hardcore gamer or a specific type of gamer, so to speak. Having less limits is a great thing. This is one of the things that PC players have been raving about ever since the beginning of PC gaming or whatnot, especially when it got to a certain point. It's like you can literally customize your experience, with your graphics. Do you prefer higher frame rate, or do you prefer better graphics? Or if you've got the horsepower, you can have both or whatnot. So, and then there's obviously the mouse and keyboard versus controller discussion or whatnot. But the thing is, there's a lot less limits on PC. And this is one of the things that PC players have always been raving about and I've always talking about. And they're right. And as time goes on, there have become less limits on console, but obviously console will never catch up to PC as long as PCs and parts continue to get made and to sell or whatnot. Console will never catch up, but it's come a long way. And the thing is, with something like this, with a concept like this, it could go even further, man. You got to have your meat and your potatoes as well. Having a concept is great, an idea is great, but making that idea come to fruition is actually where the tricky part is. So in due time, I think, whether it's a few years, whether it's 5 years, whether it's 10 years, I think hopefully sooner rather than later, we will be living in a world to where there's going to be a whole hell of a lot less limitations from both sides, and we're going to be able to play a game that we're excited to be playing, regardless of what platform we may have, which is a great thing. So with that being said, guys, I'm out of time. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.